won't be able to let the water out anyway. So, oh, nice smelly water. Hi, Tansy. Oh, you like to be petted, don't you? Yeah, you like to be petted. Welcome to Tigner Adventures. This is David, my wife Ninette, and our little cat right here, Tansy. We live in this motorhome full time, and maintenance is critical in any home that you live in, whether it's sticks and bricks or an RV, and maybe even more so in an RV, because things tend to rattle, rock, and roll in an RV. So just like your sticks and bricks that have a hot water heater, most RVs have a hot water heater to heat up your water for taking showers and things like that. And all of those hot water heaters need to be maintained. And today we're going to go take a look at a couple of different water heaters and how to maintain them. Just show you the differences so that you're aware of it and you can figure out which one that you have. Okay, and I want to start off here by thanking Jim here for letting us use his rig as a demo here. Jim is from Canada, and he's, I'm pretty sure he's like one of our first subscribers to our channel, and for sure one of our first subscribers from Canada. So it's always fun to branch out and actually see that you're hitting other countries, and Canada is considered another country, right?
We consider ourselves the 51st state.
So we have a lot of Canadians in our park, and Jim is here right now checking out our park on that 3-day pass. Remember, if you look up here, I had a little video on that up at courtside about the little 3-day pass you can get and come down here and stay for free. So Jim's down here, he's come to visit, and we get to kind of visit a little bit and check out this hot water heater. So let's get going on it. All right, so the first one we're going to start with this morning is the Suburban water heater. It's made out of metal. It has a coating on the inside to help protect it from rotting or, you know, rusting and things. It also has what they call an anode rod that goes inside, that all the particles and things that would collect and rust in the bottom of the tank and things like that actually collect onto the anode rod. So here is a new anode rod. You can see what it looks like. Very nice looking. And here is one that has been used up. Okay, this is actually way past its prime. You want to change these out way before they get to this point, because the farther they get deteriorated, the more damage they can actually do to your water heater. And so today we're going to, this was one that was in this water heater that was just sitting around, so we're just showing a demo, but we're going to pull out the one that's in there and we're going to check it out, and we're going to go ahead and replace it with this new one. All right, so this is what the hot water heater typically looks like. So if you're looking at the side of your rig, this is what you're normally going to see. Now you're going to need two different tools here. You're going to need a 1 1/16 inch socket that's going to fit your anode rod, and then you're going to need a tube that can actually spray the inside of the water heater out. All right, so the first thing you do is you open it up. And this one comes off. A lot of times they'll just kind of fold down. And so if you look at this one, there's two different things that we're looking at here. First of all, down here in the bottom is the anode rod. So if you look at this other one, this is the end of the rod. That's what's right there. Up here is the pressure relief valve, and what this is for is all hot water heaters have them on there. And if it gets too hot, builds up too much pressure in your hot water tank, then it blows the water, the pressure out. Now typically in your home, you're going to have a pipe off of here that goes down to a tray at the bottom of your water heater so that it doesn't blow all over inside your house. But out here, it's always just this, and there's always something in the way anyway, so then they wouldn't be able to put a pipe here. But the first thing you want to do is make sure you turn the water off. In this particular case, we're running off the pump inside in this rig right now, and so we've turned the water pump off. If you just pull this valve right here, it'll release the pressure, and all we're doing is just draining the pressure off the tank. And when we go to fill the tank back up or even drain it, we need to have this open so that the air, you can suck the air in there. Otherwise, it won't be able to let the water out anyway. So, oh, nice smelly water. Okay, we're gonna just open this up. And we're pulling this out of there. We're gonna let that drain. You can see that this one here doesn't look quite as bad as the other one that we have over here. But it's been doing its job. It's been collecting all the impurities that are going through the water, and that's what it's for. But you really don't want it to look like this. You want it to look more like this. So check them, you know, to start with, depending on where you're at and the kind of water you have. You might want to check it every 3 months, and then after a while you can go down to 6 months, or and then maybe a year. But at least every 6 months, I would say for sure. Check this, because it's much better to spend 20 bucks for a new one of these than it is to spend hundreds to replace the tank because it's leaking, and then that's not even counting all the damage that the water does that's leaked out through your floor and everywhere else in your rig. So it's much easier to just replace these. Well, when we're done getting all the water out of there, we're going to take this hose right here with this little adapter on there, and we're going to stick that in there and spray it all around inside the tank to kind of get all that settlement out of there. Now, you can kind of see some of it coming out right now. You can see all this black junk coming out. This is the same on if you were in the sticks and bricks. You should be doing this on your sticks and bricks too. A lot of people don't. And then they wonder why their hot water heaters rot out, because all this settlement is in there. So there is all this yucky stuff that's in there. So on your sticks and bricks one, you should be opening the bottom valve and flushing that out every 6 months to a year also, same way. So there's no real difference here. Water heater is a water heater, and they need to be maintained. So now most of that's out. I'm going to go ahead and just put this wand in there. So if you look here, you can see it just puts a stream of water out. And I'm going to just keep flushing all this junk out that's all been collecting down here, coming out of here. So just look at all that junk. Oh yeah. So it's much easier to clean this out. Now, if you take this into a shop, first of all, they're going to charge you $100 for, shop hours, minimum. But they'll have some kind of price that they're going to charge you. And this is as hard as it gets, right here. So, you just keep flushing this out until that's nice and clear. This is the purpose, is to clean this junk out of there, because what it does is it sits on that finish, and eventually it just rots through the finish and then eats the metal away in the tank. But that's flowing out of there pretty clear now. Really good. So you can see this is nice and clean here now. It's running out of here nice and clean. So we've got it all cleaned out. Now the next step is to go ahead and put in the new anode rod. All right, so we've got our anode rod here. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to put some sealant on this. Actually, it's just Teflon tape. I got Teflon tape. Or they also have this thread sealant that you can put on there. It's a Teflon based. Also, what it's doing is it's just making this so when I go to screw it back in there, it'll screw in easy and tighten up, and there won't be, the goal is not to have any leaks. All right, so now I actually put this Teflon tape on the opposite way of the way it screws. So it's a righty-tighty, so the tape is wrapped around this way, so that when I put it in there and it's going to screw on there, it's actually not undoing the tape as I screw it in. So just a little thing that kind of helps out there just a little bit. So all we do now is we just put this in here and screw it in, and we're all done with this part of it. So we just kind of snug that up, and we'll we're going to fill this back up and then we'll check for leaks. This is open right here, and that just allows us, a lot of times when you turn your water on, if this isn't open, then it'll fill up to a certain point and stop, because now you've got the air pressured water in there, and you go in your rig and turn the water on and it'll start splattering all over the place, letting all the air out of the line. So if you leave this open, then that way it allows the whole tank to fill up and all the water to escape. And so it works out kind of nice. Okay, so, all right, so here comes the water out of there, it's filling it up. So we're just gonna push this little lever down, and that seals that off. So now all of this is right here is a spring that's got a little rubber. It's got the spring for the tension, and then it's got a rubber piece over it that goes against the seal portion. And so I have had that little rubber piece go bad, or rot out and things like that, and then you'll start seeing water dripping out of here, or in my particular case it just started running out, and I couldn't figure out what was going on one day, and I walked outside and all this water running out of my hot water heater, and this was actually bad. This unit right here, you just go to like Ace Hardware. It's the same one they put on any water heater, so you don't have to go to an RV store to get it. Just go to Ace Hardware. It probably costs the same because Ace typically is a little bit higher anyway, but if you just get one of those, it just unscrews out of there, and then you just screw the new one back in, put some Teflon tape on there, screw it back in, and it's all set. So real simple to maintain the water heater, but we're all done. All we're going to do now is this will kind of dry off and everything. We'll just keep an eye on it. We'll look at it probably tomorrow or something, make sure that we don't have any leaks or anything, and we're done. That's all we do now. This particular one is all finished. So we're going to switch over to the other one now and check that out. So then the last water heater we're going to look at is an Atwood, and they're going to have different names. It's been bought out. Everything's been bought out by Dometic. But this particular style, so if I go ahead and open this up, because this is what it looks like, remember, that's how you can tell where your water heater is. This one has a hinge on it, so it just kind of hangs here. And then if you look inside here, the layout is a little different. So you've got the plug right here, and if you notice, the gas line is right in front of it, so there's no way to have a rod that's going to actually go in and out of there the way this is designed. And then over here at the top, we've got our pressure release. And then we've got an electronic piece here that controls it. In this particular case, I've replaced this, so it didn't match up with the screw holes, but it's just sitting there. And it does the job. So there's not a lot to the water heater, so it's easy to maintain them. Again, I've turned off the water, and I'm just going to release the pressure on the tank. So, all right, so we've released the pressure. In this particular job, all I need is a small adjustable wrench, crescent wrench, and some tape to put the Teflon tape back on the plug when I take it out. But I'm going to go ahead and just take this plug out of here. All right, well, the water is draining out of our hot water tank. I wanted to kind of show you something in here, that how I kind of keep track of that a little bit too. If I undo this sprayer right here, it tends to have a lot of buildup in it. So if you notice, this is the stuff that I'm getting out of the tank, and it starts showing up here within my bathroom, within the shower, and within here. And so then I know that there's a lot of stuff building up in that hot water heater, and it needs to be drained and cleaned. All right, so that's finishing draining. This particular plug is just a regular galvanized little plug, but you'll also see them with little plastic plugs that are in there. And so it's pretty obvious that they're not an anode rod if they're just the little plastic ones. Mine was all messed up, and so I finally just went and got one of these little galvanized plugs. It does rust a little bit, so it does probably create some extra little particles in there, but that's why we drain it, to get it cleaned out. So I'm just going to set that to the side, and then using our wand, we're just going to go ahead and clean this out. And we'll probably see some little sediment that comes down here, and I'll show you what that is. So we've got a little bit of buildup that's been coming out of here. A lot of it, because the water comes out so fast, it's probably ended up down here on the ground, but I just wanted to catch a little bit of this just kind of laying around here, just to show you that there is sediment that gets in there on these still, even though these aren't, don't have the little anode rod. They still need to be cleaned from time to time to get rid of this little sediment buildup. Okay, so once that's all done, then the next thing is to put our plug back in. So I put Teflon tape back on our plug, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that back in. So again, when we're putting these in, we're just tightening them enough so they don't leak. That's all we care about. So you don't want to over tighten it. Just be careful with that. Anyway, it's all done. I've still got my valve open up here, and I'm going to go ahead and go turn my water on, and then we'll wait for this to refill back up, and we'll be all done. Okay, so the water's coming out, so we'll go ahead and shut this off. And that's the end of that job. So just go ahead and shut this up. And we have completed the job of cleaning out the hot water heater. So hopefully this is helpful for you, and thanks for watching. And we'll try to come up with some other things as we're getting ready to go on our trip this summer. We'll be coming up with a new trip update here really soon, and we'll also be talking about sanitizing our tank. So I'm going to do a little video on how to sanitize your tank. One thing that Jim wanted me to pass on to you was that before he cleaned his hot water tank out, he always had this odor in his water, and he didn't really know where it was coming from, and he didn't understand that that he had to clean his tank out. So once we cleaned that hot water tank out, if you remember back at the first of the video, when I popped that little release plug there, it smelled pretty bad. And so now that that's all been cleaned out of there and we got all that, he had a lot of sludge in his. It's been neglected for a while, and he just bought this used. He doesn't have any issue or any history of when things were done, so he doesn't know when the last time it was changed, but it was really smelly, and he was getting that in the coach, where now that we've cleaned it out, he's not getting that smell anymore. And you notice also in our coach, we pick up little fine things within our water sprayer, so that's how we know that it's time to start cleaning things out and just keeping things maintained. So anyway, with that said, we'll hope to see you down the road, and if we don't, we'll just plan on seeing you on one of our next videos. So thanks for coming along. Take care.